Hey guys, welcome to part 16 of this Django and Vue Learning and Management System tutorial series. In this part we're going to begin working with making it possible for users to create courses. I haven't prepared a script for this part, so I will just do it on the fly and see how far I will get. So I think that the first thing we need here is a page on the front end where the users can add courses. So if I open up StudyNet View, find source and views, and then in the dashboard, I think it should be somewhere in here. So I can create a new file, create course.view, and then I just add some boiler code from here. Just copy these lines. I can actually take it with the section, paste it, and then create course. Then I can close this. And I want to close the div, this one, fix the indentation here a little bit, and like that. And then I can close the template tag as well. And then when that is done, I want to import this into the router, so it's done. So scroll to the top, and then below, import for my account. I can actually just make a copy of it. Create course, copy and paste, and then we need to edit. I can edit down here below my account. So make a copy of this and then replace the URL with create course. The name for this route is create course and the component is also create course. I soon have to fix the authentication for this because we need guarded routes because we don't want unauthenticated users to access this, but that's not in this part. So now that this is added there, I can open up the app.vue and add a link here to the menu. Sorry, it's in the nav.vue file. So here where we had the link to my account, we can have a link or button saying add or create course. So router link to dashboard/create course. Class button is primary. Create course, and then we close the router link and save. So if I go back to the browser now, then I will see the button here, create course. And if I click it, I will be sent to the create course page. So this will be a very comprehensive page. So I will start with the most easy things and then we will build it piece by piece. Before I continue, I just want to say thanks to all of my patrons. If you too want to support me, you will find a link in the description below. So all of the courses needs a title. They also need a description. So I can begin with that. So if I go here now, open up StudyNet Django just to see the database model, so we know which fields we need here. See that we need a title and then slug. I want this to be auto-generated, and then a long and short description and also an image. I will come back to the image later, so we can just begin with the title, short and long description. And also we need a select field for the categories. So let's begin with adding some things to the page. So if I now go to create course, I can create a script tag down here, close it, and then export default data, return, and then title can just be empty, short description can be empty, long description can also be empty. And then I want one more object here called methods. And I want one method here called get categories, because I want to get all of the categories from the database. And when we get these, we also want to add them to an object here called categories, or a list called categories. So that's the one more field we need. Actually, I can make this an object called form, which will make it easier to send all of this to the backend. and then this is a little bit more separated. And then I also want to add the lifecycle hook called mounted. So when this page is opened, I want to call the getCategories function like that. Sorry, this.getCategories. So when this page is loaded, we call this category. Let me just say console.log to see that everything is working. Okay, I did a little mistake. This should have a colon and not a parenthesis. So now it looks okay. Inspect, and then I open up the console. Then we'll see here that when this page was loaded, we also called the getCategories. Nice. And then I can go back here again. And then I know that here I want the submit button. So I can begin with that. I can also add a form tag, so that's added. And then div class field button class button is success. It's a nice and green button. Submit. We can close that, and we can also close this. So now we have the submit button for the form as well. So then I can add a field here for the title, the long and the short description. So div class field label title input type text name is okay, we don't need a name, but I want to reference this, so then I use the v v-model to bind it. Form.title, so form.title points to this one. And also need to add a class here for input. We get some styling from Bulma. So if I close this now, I can see what this looks like. Yes, looks decent enough. And then below here, the short and the long description. So just make a copy of this short description. This should be a text area and not the input like that. So then we need to close it. And the v model for this is short description, and the class is text area. And this doesn't need a type attribute. So if I save now, go back, we have this. Nice. And then I want the same for the long description. So make a new copy of this. Just replace long and long. So if I now can connect this form here to a method down here for submit, then we say v-on prevent, submit.prevent, because we want to prevent the default action for this, which is to send you to a URL. So here I just say submit form. Now we can create a new method for this. Console.log, and I also want to console log this.form, so we see that all of the data is correct. So if I refresh now, just type some random information, submit, then we see that we call the function submit form, and then we pass in title, short description, and long description. Nice. And then the next step I want to do now is to get all of the categories from the server, so we can select it here as well. So I want to see if I already have a view for this. So if I just scroll up, find a course, and then views, then I do not have anything here. Yes, here we have the get categories. So I want to call this. Just want to see which URL we use. Get categories. And if I go into courses.view, I actually use this here. So I can just make a copy of this, close it, and scroll, paste it into the get categories there. So then you can see that everything there is working. I don't need a wait like that. So then I said this categories is the data we get from the server, which is set to this one. I'd probably get an error now because I haven't imported Axios. So import Axios from Axios and save. So if I go back now, you'll see that I got 3 objects from the server. ID 1, 2, and 3, and then the title and the slug. Nice. So then I want to connect this to a select list. Just need to go to Bulma to find the proper syntax for the select list. So go into the documentation, form, select. And I want this to be a multiple select, so we can do this. Select multiple objects. So copy this, go back here, and then I want to have this below the long description. So first add a div class field, and then just paste it in there. Okay, I can remove some of these for now. And then I want to close this div and move the options in like that. Size can be set to 10 because you probably will have many categories in your application. So then we need to connect this to a field in the form here. So then we say categories and make this a list. Then we can just say v model and point to form.categories. And then we want to loop through the categories we got here from the get categories and show them here instead. So just add these to a separate line so it's a little bit cleaner. Then I want the value, sorry, it can begin with the v4. So v-4 category in categories. And then the value of this should be category.id. And you see here that I get an error now because I need to add a comma there, or v-bind. And I also need a v-bind key to make this unique. So here just say category.id as well. And then in here we can show the category.title. So if I now go back here, you will see that we have the select list there. Nice. So now we can try again and see if these are selected. So here now you will see that we have the categories, which is an array of 2, which is the IDs of these 2 categories. Nice. So now we can try to handle the backend for this. So now we can continue working on the submit form method just to see what happens when we try to submit the data. So here we say axios.post courses/create, and then we pass in this.form. And then when that is done, we want to get some information back, so we want to look at that and see what it looks like. Then response fat arrow function. Now we can just console log the data, and if there are any errors we want to show them in the console. So catch error, create a function console.log error, and then error like that. So now we will see it in the console if there's anything wrong with this. You can try to do it right now, and then I know that I will get an error. Submit, because now I will get the 405 method not allowed. So this method doesn't exist yet either, so we can begin by doing that. So if I open up here now, scroll up to the views.py inside the course. Then we can add it at the top or wherever you actually want it. API view. And here we only want to allow the post method. Def create course request. And then we can say print request.data to see what we get from the front end. And then we want to send something back, and that is just a return response. Yo. yo, or whatever you want. This is just for testing right now. Now we need to add this to the urls.py. So above the slug here, which is very important, path, create course, add the slash views.create course. So then we can try to submit this again. Still get a 405 because I didn't use the correct. This is just a create. Sorry. So one more time, and now I got this back from the server. But of course no thing was created. But here we can again then see the data which was submitted from the front end. So if I try to select a few categories, set the title, short and long description, submit, and then go here again, then you will see here that I got the title, short description, long description, and categories. Nice. So then we can try to create a course using this information. So if I then go to Visual Studio Code, I can just close the URLs and go into views.py. Then we can create the course by saying course equals course.objects.create, title equals request.data.title, short description equals request.data.short description. I think I need to change this. Yes, as you can see, I use this get. So I just need to change this dot get to get the title like that, and the short description like that. Make a copy of this and replace short with long. And then this course should hopefully be created, and then we can say for id in request.data.get categories course.categories.add id. And when that is done, we can say course.save print course, just to see that what happens there. So then I try to submit, then I got server error, not null, created by ID should not be null, and that has to be set up here. So created by equals request.user, because the user should be authenticated and the user should be allowed to add. So save again, try to submit, and then I got yo back, so it got passed there. It used this information, and this is now the title of the course. So if I try to log in the admin interface, then I should be able to go to courses and find it there. Nice. And the categories is also selected. As you can see here now, I'm missing the slug, which we need to create. And I also missed the image, but I have to come back with the image later. But then we can continue and fix the slug. So Django Slugify, which is a built-in function. Just copy this, paste it at the top. Sorry, I want to have it there, so it's alphabetically. From django.utils.text import Slugify. And the way we use it is to just say slug equals Slugify, and then we pass in a string like that. If I then add a comma there, this should be taken care of. So let's try to create a new course, change the title, submit, then I got it back there. And if I go back to courses, I have the new here, and then the slug was automatically generated. Nice. So then the courses is actually created by an admin. So if I try to open this in a new tab, go to courses, the new courses should be listed out there, but it's not. Okay, so I can see that the courses isn't loaded here, And if I open up the inspector, I can see here that the missing required param slug isn't there. So if I find that course, which is this one, I can just delete it. Yes, I'm sure. And then we can refresh, and then they are loaded, and you can see it here. Nice. But I just want to fix that the newest courses comes first. So if I go into models.py, add a class meta, ordering equals minus created at save, and refresh. And now the newest courses show there. Later I want to make it possible or set so that an administrator has to go in and approve courses before they show here, but now it's just for testing. And I also need to continue work here, because when this is filled out and this is selected, I want to go down here and maybe just save this as a draft, and the user can start adding lessons and similar. But that is for the next time. If you like this video, please hit like below, and also remember to subscribe if you haven't done that already. See you in the next video.